WCW champion. You're listening to the Potsy and Tino show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Pots and Pans Network brings you the tag team champions of the world, the Road Dogg Tino Gray, the badass Rob Potsy Potchak. That's right, the Potsy and Tino Show. Our theme song is always brought to you by Adam's House Cats, called the Wrestling Song. It's available on iTunes for 99-cent Jones. And you know, I didn't even put it up here, but I want to talk about one of the wrestlers from WWE Evolve when we actually start talking about wrestling, because one of the names just has me laughing my ass off, and we'll get to it. But Tino, we always start the show off with a little segment called "What's Up with You." I know you're losing your voice, so don't feel obligated to go long with this, but what's been up with you?
Like Rob said, not too much. I went to Hickory this past weekend, Friday and Saturday, did my gigs there. And I was telling Rob I did those, and then I woke up Sunday and I didn't have a voice at all. I think it's a combination because Nicole was sick. So I think I might have got what she got and allergies. So everything's just draining and sore throat and raspy and can't really talk. But that's about it. I was telling you, my new boss started today, so I got to meet her, and I got a one-on-one meeting with her Wednesday, like 2 hours, just me and her talking about my department. So hopefully I have my shit back by then. But that's about it. I can't think of anything exciting.
So I think I told you off air, but on air, I do have some leads for some possible job for myself. So I've been putting together the state application because they're state positions. They are permanent positions, not temporary jobs this time.
Oh yeah, permanent. That's cool.
Yeah. So trying and the one that I'm going to be applying to probably this week, I sent off all the information to the person that actually like recommended me for the job, because she said she'd actually help make sure that like everything looks good, ready to go, so that way it should pass HR without a problem. And then she also said, and you interview really well, so I wouldn't even worry about that part. And it's like, okay, cool. So that's looking pretty good. And then this past weekend, I mentioned to you I missed SmackDown. I did catch, I think, a little bit of Cody Rhodes. You can still get all of these jobs. Yeah, well, here's hoping, Chris Barrett. I missed SmackDown because I drove down to Florence, South Carolina, because I was a guest at Power Comic-Con this past weekend. Had a really good show. It was only a one-day show, so I drove down Friday, stayed the night, drove back Saturday. Had a really good show. Got to hang out with some friends that I don't get to see very often, because obviously you only get to see them when you do the conventions. So I hung out with my buddy Chris McJunkin, my buddy Lyle Pollard, and Greg Bo Watson. So they were all there. Got to meet someone who has done some work for Marvel and DC. So was talking to her about the possibility of maybe working with Keenspot in the future. So we'll see what goes on with that. And you know, most important thing is last Wednesday, Die Hard 2 hit stores. So we're now back on schedule to get the third issue out in time for Easter. It's at the printer now, so it'll be interesting to see exactly how quickly that gets shipped out to the local shops. And then, of course, Dread Mutt working on that. And then my buddy Daryl Murphy posted that he's been working on a comic book with me. And, you know, we hadn't really talked about it. You and I have talked about it, but hadn't really shown anything or done anything in terms of it. And he started sending me artwork last week. So I've got I think 16 or 18 pages now that I can start coloring and sent you one of them. So as we get closer to that being completed, that's when we'll start making mention of what the publishing schedule looks like for that one as well. But don't really want to go into it just yet. Today is St. Patrick's Day. Yesterday was Austin 316 Day. I was out somewhere yesterday, and a guy walks up to me and he goes, "Rob, I'm really disappointed in you." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" he unzips his jacket and he's wearing an Austin 316 shirt. And he goes, I'm not even a wrestling fan and I'm wearing this shirt today and you're not wearing one. And I looked at him and I said, I'm going to be honest with you. Tomorrow I don't have to wear green either. And he goes, so you're just not going to? And I'm like, everybody knows I'm Irish. Why would I need to wear green on St. Patrick's Day? Like, so I was like, I think I get a pass on that one.
Oh God.
And he was like, yeah, but you're probably gonna get pinched a lot. I was like, I haven't left the house, so I didn't get pinched. But like at Hard stores this past week, pretty excited about that. I haven't really heard anybody talking about what they thought of it. I did meet a couple when I was at the convention. There were a couple people that came up, and like every time I go to these conventions, people always come up and they're like, "How did you get involved with it? Like what kind of advice do you have for new people?" So and instead of selling them my little, "Are you sure you want to get into comics?" thing, I actually just like copies to some people. So and they were like, "Are you sure? Because I'll buy the book from you." And I'm like, no, I'm going to give you the book. But you got to do me a favor. And they're like, what's the favor? And I was like, after you read it, if you feel like you got something from it, just give me a 5-star review on Amazon.
You're always pushing.
Well, I give them a $10 book for free. I think asking for a review on Amazon is a pretty cheap like trade-off there. So, all right, Tino. Green isn't even the color of St. Patrick's Day. It's blue, green, and orange represent the opposing religion. I didn't even realize I put that up there on the screen.
Yeah, you did. I was wondering what you were doing.
But that's good to know. So, Tino, we also typically do this segment called Weekly TV Watching now. So what have you caught up on?
Nicole and I were just laughing because we hadn't really had a chance to watch TV, so I got like 2 or 3 episodes of Watson. I'm behind. Same thing with Tracker, so we got to play catch up. I am caught up, I believe, on the Irrational. If it's the last one was the Astronauts.
Yes.
So I'm caught up on that. They hadn't had any new Founds.
Found was Thursday. They did do a new episode.
They did a new one, so I need to catch up on that one.
What do you think of the story that they're doing behind the whole Jamie return thing? Now, I think at this point, everybody agrees that it is actually her son that has been returned, right?
I'm still looking. Well, he explained it away because remember they were trying to catch him, the mole on his arm. He said, I had it removed. Did they try to do the DNA and he said, here, you want my DNA? Did they confirm that it was him?
I think that at that point she said she didn't need more confirmation because she believed him. But like so this week there's a little drop of like, ooh, and for the past little while, Sir has been doing this thing where he's like trying to get Trent under Trent's skin by talking about it. Yeah, heavy boots. By being a if they're gonna call him Sir, I guess he can call him Heavy Boots. But they're trying to get under his skin by basically saying that his dad was a bad cop or whatever. And so they kind of finished part of that story as well this week.
And then I wanted another side story is God, I can't remember the character's name. The dude that won't leave the house, and what's her name's sister. You thought they were going to hook up, and then she kind of left. Like the last one I saw, she left because the other girl came.
Won't say anything. Won't say anything about that. But yes, that gets addressed as well.
Cool.
So this episode felt like it could have been the season ender, but I don't think it is. I think they still got 2 or 3 episodes to go. And I hope they don't do. I hope that they've been really good about not doing what I didn't like about Tracker. Because I haven't seen if a new episode of Tracker or Watson were on Paramount yet. Because I was watching Peacock today, but with Tracker, like the whole like how he started doing all of this was like that 10-year-old story, and then they wrapped that up in 2 episodes. Like, and I was really hoping that was going to be like a like going to the end of the season thing. And maybe there is going to be another part to it that comes up. I don't know, but
They still haven't addressed his because they still like this last one I saw. Well, the last one I saw is when they kidnapped the musician, right? And then the kidnapper and Tracker kind of like are their dads were the same. They still got his backstory. They got Tracker's backstory. They could probably still flush out a little bit.
yeah.
But
The other thing that kind of irritates me about Tracker is that all of a sudden, like a bunch of the characters that were helping him do all this stuff are suddenly changed with other people.
well, no, they still got they have the two ladies. That one lady's still there. The lawyer's
What
still there.
happened to the other one?
I don't know. They never said.
It's like they just dropped, like, because then all of a sudden his buddy Bobby, who was like his tech guy, all of a sudden got replaced by his cousin or some
I don't
shit.
think he got replaced. I think he was just there for that episode. But the guy that played his
No,
his
because
cousin.
the other guy's still in other episodes.
Oh, well, that guy, I was cool with that because he's off of Legacy. It's another one of my shows that I used to watch. The spinoff from Vampire Diaries. So he was a vampire too, but he was a cool vampire. So I was like, oh, me and Nicole were like, hey, that's old boy from Legacy. I'm like, yeah, he's a good actor.
Well, I'd really like to see more episodes where they bring his brother back because I'm a big I'm a big fan of Soldier Boy. So yeah, the from The Boys,
Yeah.
Homelander's father on The Boys. The guy from Supernatural, I can't remember what his
Dean
name is.
Ackles.
Yeah, Jensen Ackles. Yeah.
Jensen Ackles, yeah. I call him
Yeah.
Dean Ackles. He's Dean in the show.
Well, what's funny about that is that for the final season of The Boys, which they're filming right now, they're bringing in Padalecki and they're bringing in Misha Collins. So they're bringing them all in, and they're like, and Padalecki was like, hey, if you want me to do a nude scene, you better go ahead and give me like some heads up, so I just eat almonds and am working out all day long.
Yeah, what the fuck happened with Dan Walker? They just dropped off the face of the earth with that one.
What's that?
He was.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that show just didn't get picked back up.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
But
no. CW. Remember when I was going to say Lois and Clark, when Superman and Lois, when they announced they were doing one more season of that. Apparently, CW was like, we're going to get away from our own TV shows, and we're only going to like license them from like CBS or whatever, because you pay a much smaller fee if you're not paying for the episodes to be made. So they only gave Superman and Lois 10 episodes for the final season. And then the only show that they ended up keeping was the All American or whatever, like the football one that they do. Now I've been keeping up with Suits LA because this was the first episode that they brought back Harvey Specter, and they brought him back in such a boring ass way that like it wasn't even worth his appearance.
Oh shit!
Yeah, like he shows up in a backstory, 10 years ago backstory thing, and he shows up like on a baseball field and tells Mel's character to like get his head out of his ass or whatever. And then they have like one more scene later on where they're drinking like whiskey at the bar, and that's it. So
Yeah, fuck that.
Kind of pointless. But the show itself, like I think it's finally starting to feel like its own thing. But I don't know why, like a show, obviously, like since they're calling it Suits LA, like they're using the same theme music and everything for it. And I know that sometimes with like Law and Order they do that, but you really don't need to. Like if you really want the show to stand on its own, it might be time to move away from the.
I think the same reason they do Law and Order, they just probably want to keep that consistency, so people,
Well, but remember when they did the Christopher Melanie Organized Crime, like it was still similar music, but they definitely changed it so it fit more with the grittiness of that show. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just being picky. Today, I after watching that, I noticed that Peacock had the final episodes of Yellowstone on it. So I wanted to see how Kevin Costner's character died and everything, and it's done in so I know you didn't actually watch the show, but it's done in such a weird way that like it was some of it was happening now, some of it was like a flashback, but they never told you when it was a flashback and when it wasn't. And there was no difference in like the tone of the episode in terms of like shading of the shading of the scene or anything like that. So it just bounced around constantly for like the first 2 or 3 episodes of that, and I was like, this is kind of fucked up. Did he die already? Did he not die? Like, why are we flashing back to how the death actually happened? All this weird shit, but they tie it up with a nice little bow by the end, and I'm like, that's like, this is the kind of show that really wouldn't tie up that easily, and yet they still did. And obviously it's because they knew the show was coming to an end, so it was like, what do we do to just get it there? And because there's rumors that they're going to do like a sequel series and stuff with the characters that actually survived, but not call it Yellowstone, because kind of how like the whole thing ends, they don't want to call it Yellowstone going forward. So anyways, that's pretty much what I was watching this week. I mean, obviously I watched final episode of Invincible for the season. I watched that. Watched the latest episode of Reacher. As I was telling you, Reacher this season has been excellent. So if you've watched season 1 and loved it, and watched season 2 and hated it like I did, you're going to be back to that. I love what's going on with Reacher in season 3. And so far I'm really like crossing fingers that they're not going to fuck it up. And so far they haven't. Like the season's been really, really good. So I've been very pleased with how it's rolling so far. Folks, if you're in the audience, want to say hi, want to sit there and tell us the shows that you're watching or anything, go ahead, put in the comments. Also, if you could give a like and on the YouTube channel, if you want to subscribe, that'd be wonderful as well. We don't say that enough as we're going through this stuff. So I figured I'd go ahead and say that right now. Tino, it says we have 8 people in the audience. So that's
just bare. So usually we got more in the chat. We're missing some people.
Yeah, we haven't seen Michael Turner in a little while. We haven't seen Joe Lowe in a while. But if other people want to start joining in and chatting with us, we'd be more than happy to let you chime in, tell us what you're watching, see if there's any shows that we need to be watching. Still haven't started up Yellow Jackets for season 3. Waiting a little bit, and there's been news coming out about Dexter Resurrection. I don't know if you're a Dexter fan at all, Tino, but Dexter Resurrection, which apparently they're gonna somehow undo the ending of New Blood. I don't exactly know how they plan to do that, but apparently that's what they've got planned, is to figure out a way to undo the ending of that. But now they're talking about how like Neil Patrick Harris is going to be a character on the new series. A bunch of the characters from the original series are going to be reprising their roles, which is nice. And I actually did like the original Sin series. So seeing Christian Slater play Harry Morgan, seeing the young kid playing Dexter, and also still having that voiceover from Michael C. Hall, actually kind of tied it all together. So it was interesting how they did all that. All right, I really don't have anything else about what was going on with me this week. I don't have any other conventions or anything right now through the month of April. So my next comic book appearance is going to be, right now it's Free Comic Book Day, the first weekend in May, and I'll be at Triangle Town Center. So that's what I got going on there. Our friend Blitzball Champ was at DPW this weekend.
Yeah, I figured he was when I saw it was in Durham.
A bunch of my friends were actually at it, which is interesting. So, but we didn't get to talk about last week's Monday Night Raw very much, because obviously it was still on at 8:00 Eastern. This week, however, Tino, a little change to the plan. Yeah. This new Netflix going live when Netflix goes live is pretty cool, if you ask me. Yeah. I do want to talk about at least one match from last week because I think after we watched the AEW pay-per-view last.
Did you see Helios?
What's up, Helios? We after last week where we got the Will Ospreay Kyle Fletcher steel cage match, Monday Night Raw had their own steel cage match. So I want want to talk a little bit about that and see what your opinion was between the two of those cage matches. By the way, like, did you prefer one over the other? Did you think that they both stand on their own two feet? Because they gave very different presentations.
I think they were both standalone. I think they were both standalone, and I think they were both good. The Osprey match was
the blow off.
bloody.
Yes, and very bloody, yeah. But it was the
Yeah.
blow off match in that feud too.
And I think this match they had with Punk and Rollins, I think it was a way to bridge to make it that 3-way at WrestleMania, because that we all knew was going to happen.
Now we all know that cool, crazy shit always happens at Madison Square Garden when it's WWE.
Mhm.
And what I noticed about it was that when Roman Reigns showed up at the end of the match, and I want to, like the match itself, excellent match.
Yes.
They use the cage differently than most of these matches do. They didn't use it as a weapon. They didn't bring other weapons into the ring. They used it as a means to keep them locked in. And yes, that's what the whole thing about them is. But like the door was wide open. No, like neither one of them was trying to use that door as a means of escape.
Well, both of them held the door for the other one, said, "Go ahead, quit, go ahead."
Yeah, and that's what I mean is that their feud was so intense that they were like, "No, you're not getting me to back down," and then it was just a slugfest. The fact that Rollins put Punk in the STF, John Cena's finisher, was pretty damn cool. The fact that he was able to reverse that into the Anaconda Vice, I thought that was really cool because
that superplex off the top of the cage, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But like I said, Madison Square Garden, Roman Reigns shows up, pulls Seth out of the cage, and throws him down to the ground. Seth wins the match because of that. But did you know that Roman Reigns was there?
No, but you knew he was going to show up.
Well, everybody had the feeling that there was going to be some, but they kept it under wraps.
Yes.
Nobody knew that he was there. The fact that until he actually got to the cage, the crowd wasn't even reacting to him. And normally by then you see a bunch of people stand up and they're all like pointing and looking.
So where did he come from? Because that's good. That's a good point. So they would have seen him coming and they would have reacted and started cheering. So that meant he came out of nowhere. So was he under the ring? Where did he come from?
I don't think he was under the ring because obviously the wise man was with him. It really seemed more like what happened was he probably came down wearing a hoodie or something. And then took the hoodie off as he jumped the rail. But timing and everything else had to be perfect there, and in fact, it was just to me, it was just as surprising to see how they pulled it off as when Punk came down as the referee in that Drew McIntyre Seth match or Damian Priest match. And went 1, 2, and then he looked at him and he just stared at him. And that's when the camera finally panned up to show that it was CM Punk. This had that kind of feel to it. Roman using the stomp to actually take out Rollins, I thought was a very interesting and well played move. But I think the most shocking part of it was after he beat the shit out of CM Punk and went out to go beat up Rollins more.
I don't think he touched Punk. He fucked Rollins up. He didn't touch Punk until he looked up and saw the wise man hugging him. That's when he went in there and got Punk.
Right. Yeah. And he was like, "You got to be shitting me," is that look that he had on his face, but either way, it's just really well done. Kudos to the WWE for continuing their storytelling genius on stuff like this. Obviously, that Paul Heyman has his clutches all on this storyline because he always does when it comes to Roman. Heard this week, by the way, that backstage, Paul Heyman is working very hands-on with one Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker. I get the Braun mixed up. I'm tired.
And yeah. Working very, very hard behind the scenes with Braun Breaker, working on his promos, working on like character development, everything else. So I think that's why we're seeing some really good stuff out of that kid too. And I don't know if you watched Van Vliet this week, but he had Scott Steiner on. So that was a pretty cool interview with Scott Steiner, talking shit about Hulk Hogan.
I saw clips.
So the only other thing from last week's Monday Night Raw that I really want to get into, well, I guess a quick couple things. Gunther actually continuing his string of matches against this time, I guess it was Tozawa that he went up against. Tozawa looked like $1 million. I like how Gunther actually said, our body shaping changes and everything else. Like I have to give you credit. Like and then of course, like online, you see all these pictures of the two of them when they were fat. Like
I never knew Tozawa was fat. So I was like, wow.
He was a little roly-poly.
I'm like, that's Tozawa. I'm like, fuck. He's got like abs and everything. You wouldn't know it.
Yeah. And then Gunther had another match on SmackDown, which was pretty surprising. He went up against Axiom, hometown kid Axiom, I guess.
And Axiom, that was a good match.
But then the other thing that we got was was it last week that Io Sky won the women's championship? No, that was the week before.
Mm-hmm.
But last week, like there was more involvement between Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Io Sky, which we're about to talk about from today.
Before, I
okay,
want to jump back to SmackDown.
Well, we haven't even gotten to SmackDown yet.
Oh, I thought you did. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but if you want, we can come back to Raw after we talk about SmackDown and everything, because obviously we watched today's Raw as well.
Yeah, the only thing, well, two things. Gunther tried to get in Jay's brother's head, tried to get in the Big Jim's head, and Jim said, "No, you're not getting." Pretty much, we're gonna go to WrestleMania, and we're gonna yeet because he's gonna be the champion. So that was cool. I want to go back. You didn't watch it, right? I want to go back. They did an interview with Jade Cargill.
Okay.
And one of those that the arena was empty and there's just her and Redmond and they're talking. And at the end, the two bitches came through. But while she was doing that interview, they were like, "How do you know it was Naomi?" And she said, "Well, she got jumped. And as she was going to unconsciousness, she saw Naomi run away. She didn't see who jumped her. She just saw Naomi run away." So some people are like, well, maybe, because Bailey and maybe they found her, Bailey and then we found her and Bailey was going and she saw her going to get help. They're like, and then the promo that Naomi did with Bianca, she's like, she kept saying, "I did it for you. I did it for you." What if she meant, what if she didn't, what if she wasn't saying, "I jumped her for you"? What if she's saying, "I took the bullet for you"?
Well, and that's what a lot of people seem to think. And I'm totally in on it, in on that idea because Bianca's behavior since the Elimination Chamber has been heelish.
And she's wearing all black. She's not wearing the colorful outfits anymore. Even on we'll talk about today, but even on when she did the signing today, she was in all black.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So and we have new tag team champions from SmackDown.
Yes.
Street Profits win the tag belts off of DIY, and afterwards one Xavier Woods posted on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it. He sits there and he posts, "Hey, it just took a little bit of advice from us, and you finally took it. Good job, guys. Only took 2 years."
Wow.
What's going on, Drew Manchu? Drew Drew's a buddy of mine. I don't know if it's that she's actually being a terrible actress, as Drew's saying here, more so than it's possible that it's supposed to look like she's a bad actress.
Mm-hmm. I
You
think that's
know,
what it is. I think she's trying to play. Oh no! What? Yeah,
yeah, like it's almost sarcastic.
yeah. I think it's on purpose.
Yeah. So we'll go back to we'll go to today's Monday Night Raw after we go through everything else, because obviously we keep everything in order for the most part. Want
Yeah.
to talk a little bit about the NXT, what did they call it? It was
God,
Roadblock.
Roadblock. That show was fire. I mean, I know there's different matches, but all those matches I enjoyed. I enjoyed the young old G and Alan
Ethan
Ethan
Page
Page.
and their street fight.
I enjoyed
Well, like so they started the show hot. I mean, they had Fraxium versus the Hardys for the TNA Tag Team Championships.
and there were parts when I was like, oh shit. Because here's what I thought. And I don't know that WWE is gonna do this, but I think they need to let a title go. And so does TNA. So I didn't know. So I figured when Fraxium lost, I'm like, damn, is Moose take that title? You know what I'm saying? I think they should cross brands with the titles.
Well, answer me this, because all right, we started talking about this now.
Yes.
Originally, when Obafemi announced that he wanted to fight Moose, he said title for title. And all of a sudden, by the time the match happened, it was just for the NXT championship.
Well, I think he did, but I also think when they did the women's championship title for title, they probably didn't want to have two title for titles on the same card. Because he did say title for title.
So specifically, I can tell you right now, the Hardy's going over, I thought was a smart move, because when you're doing these two brand pay-per-view like events that or PLE like events that they did here on the CW, you've got that moment where what you're watching is a very seesaw type thing. Like, you can't have NXT win every single one of those matches, right? Like someone from TNA is gonna have to win something.
Agreed, but what I'm saying is, I thought since the Hardys kept their title, right?
Yeah,
I was thinking maybe that, oh shit, Moose will take that title back to TNA just to have it chased. That's what I was saying. They need to, and I don't know if WWE's ready to do that. Let their title go to well, they're not even opposition anymore because they're working together. But I think that would help bring TNA up, because you'll get more eyes. You'll get WWE eyes on TNA.
I think the only reason why you didn't see any of that is because you're going to have Stand and Deliver, which is going to be WrestleMania weekend. It's going to be that noon show on WrestleMania Saturday, and you probably don't want the NXT Championship being held by a TNA wrestler going into WrestleMania weekend.
But they could win it back at that WrestleMania weekend, right?
Well, yeah, but they could lose it WrestleMania weekend, and it's probably even bigger. And it would be even bigger for TNA to have one of their wrestlers win it at Mania weekend than it would be on a one-off CW show.
No, what I'm saying is, because they still had time. I see what you're saying too, but say Moose did win that title, right? And Oba chased him, and got his redemption and got it back at WrestleMania. That could still be a big thing, right?
Yeah.
And in the process, they could still have eyes on TNA. So the WWE will get the win back, but I think for a little bit, it's what, like 40 days, 30 till to WrestleMania.
I think we will start seeing some of that. At this point, again, I don't think you take the NXT championship, but I could see the North American championship, the women's North American champion. I could see one of those changing hands on one of these programs at some point. I think that we are likely to see some of that.
You know what may happen? Well, no, because TNA would have to win it back at that stand and deliver. I was going to say maybe Core J goes over there and beats some, their women's champion.
I mean, it could, and imagine all of a sudden she's on TNA every week because of that, and Cora Jade's the right one to do it too. I mean, like she's got all that sass and pizzazz. Like, I mean, she is something else. So Drew's sitting here saying TNA is never going to be booked as a legit threat to WWE. I don't think anybody's ever actually said that would ever be the case, but being a legit threat to NXT is something that absolutely can happen here. And I think that they're showing that. We know that TNA is a smaller brand than SmackDown or Raw. But, could we see a Joe Hendry show up on a Monday Night Raw and go up against Braun Breaker? Maybe. But I don't see it. I do see the possibility of, I could see the possibility of going into Stand and Deliver and having Joe Hendry actually challenge Obafemi, and I could see that. I could see whoever the women's champion, the Knockouts champion is in TNA going up against. Well, I don't even want to say who has that title yet because, we haven't talked about that match just yet. We're about to. But like you said, Tino, the show itself was fire. This match, and here's the crazy thing about this match. It's the NXT heavyweight champion versus the X Division champion, who everyone, in most cases, I would think that people that don't typically watch TNA probably think Moose is the TNA champion.
Well, he's a multiple-time TNA champion, though.
Right. But I mean, this was probably Moose's best match that I've ever seen. Yeah. Like he brought it, getting that little fist bump from the Undertaker before the match kind of just gave it a little bit more oomph to it.
No. Put some respect on that. He gave him that pep talk. He gave him a fist bump. He said, and he's something like, "You go defend your yard."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh shit." Okay. In with what Drew's saying here, the only reason why I say that you might actually see this happening in a situation here is because they intend to have Joe Hendry under contract in WWE immediately after his contract runs out in TNA. So starting him up, getting him hot in WWE right now, so that way when he shows up again, and I'm not saying that they're gonna job a main eventer.
This one is true. They would have Tommy Dreamer come in and do the job.
But I think Hendry will come in and he'll look strong against the main eventer, and they'll shine him up. He'll lose, but like you said, they want him on the contract, so they got to start building him. So while he may not beat a main eventer, he'll come in there and look damn good doing it and lost.
But yeah, and to Drew's point there, saying Obafemi versus Moose, Obafemi wasn't going to be losing to Moose, and he wasn't going to lose. I don't think he was going to lose the NXT championship, at least in a 1, 2, 3 standardized thing. Like if Moose is it's not the Syndicate. What are they? What's his group called?
Is it the System?
Yeah, the System. So if they had the System come in and cause Obafemi to lose, maybe. But I don't see, like I said, I don't see the NXT heavyweight champion losing to anybody from TNA. But the North American champion, I could see happening.
They did it with the Rascals. I mean, yeah, what's his name? Isn't a main eventer, but he's fucking right there.
Which one?
Wesley. Remember the Rascal dude came in and beat Wesley? Like I said, Wesley's not a main eventer, but
let's get back to this match though.
Yeah.
This match happened at the midpoint of the show. It wasn't even the main event. And yet I will say I think it was the best match both of these guys have put on. Like Moose specifically, but Obafemi's been wrestling less than 2 years. And he's putting on performances like this.
I don't think Obafemi has faced it like Ridge. Like Moose and Oba are fucking same height, damn near the same weight. I mean, this was fucking Godzilla and King Kong. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So he was able to hit Moose like he couldn't hit anybody else, right? So now you could really see Oba's strength and Oba's power, and Oba really get to fucking just waylay somebody and not have to worry about it.
It is weird to notice that Obafemi lost to Tony D'Angelo, and Sean Spears has beaten Tony D'Angelo now. You know what I mean? You see all that, and then you see this now. Like you already said, the street fight between Ethan Page and the OG was great. Finally, the OG gets his comeuppance. Finally, gets his win back. Great match. Like everything on this card, I think, was an A minus personally. And then we had the main event, title for title.
Wait, but didn't Trick come out and do something with what's his name too, and whoop that Trick? So I mean, just from top to
they
bottom.
they got into a little bit of a scuffle, which sets up a match for this week.
Yeah.
But then we have the main event, title for title. Women's North American Champion Stephanie Vaquer versus Julia.
See,
NXT Women's Champion.
I was saying I was surprised. I didn't know Julia was hurt.
Well, that was the rumor. There's also rumor that she's been having visa issues. So when you're doing the traveling and stuff, like, if you're having visa issues, you can't be on the card. So they're figuring out ways to do all this. Now, the other thing I want to point out is this took place again at Madison Square Garden, but in like their concert hall area that they've got there. Loved the presentation of the entire night. Thought it looked like one of the best presentations NXT has done.
Packed.
Yes, it was packed, but it looked like the type of place that could only hold about 6,000 people. Whereas Madison Square Garden holds 19,000.
I think it was more than that, but you might be right.
Well, yeah, but remember when we went to the Durham Armory and they packed that place in, and it, when you see it on TV, you're like holy shit, they make that place look huge, and that place holds 600 people. So they know how to do that presentation. But this match, what did you think of it?
Phenomenal. I think it's like I said, I don't think there was a bad match on the card. Now, is this the match of the night? It was good, but I still give match of the night to Obafemi and Moose.
Yeah, I think the only thing that changes is that this one got the confetti drop down and everything else because you now have the first women's double champ in NXT history. Now, granted, that probably means that Vaquer, who ended up winning the match, is going to have to relinquish the North American Championship because
I think she drops it back to Thailand, to Finlay, or to one of those three. And
well, I bet they either have like contenders matches where it's like 3-way dances all night Tuesday night or something. But I have a feeling that by the end of the night they'll have a new one.
Because Julia and Stephanie also had a little mini side thing going with Jordan Grace. So don't think Jordan Grace might not step up and get that title.
Well, no, and in fact, if they did like a battle royal to determine who wins it, I think Jordan Grace is your best option in terms of who you pick.
So you don't think they'll defend him? You don't think Stephanie will defend both?
No. Now, as soon as you become the top champion, you don't like even look at when Keith Lee did it. Keith Lee, both? He did like the first week, and then after that, they made him relinquish it. And that's just the way it's always been in WWE, except when Becky Lynch had both women's championships, and so
is Stephanie just holding this for Julia then? What happens? Because Julia didn't hold it that long, right? So if Stephanie relinquishes her North American title, Julia will come back and win that fucking world title. Then Stephanie's ass out.
Well, we don't know. Like we may see if Julia is actually injured that Julia doesn't come back to NXT. She might just go straight to the main roster.
Good point.
I mean, look at Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez ended up doing the job to Jordan Grace at the PLE. just a couple weeks ago, and then like now she's on what, SmackDown?
I don't think she's up full time, and she's still part time in it.
I don't know. When you look at it, man, she has the record for most time in the Royal Rumble now. She was in the Elimination Chamber. I think she's been moved up. Like, I think she was just doing the favors to someone new before she left.
Yeah, because they're probably going to put her in with Bliss.
Yeah, I would. No, I think her and Liv. Well, she's going to continue her storyline with Bayley, I think.
They were also setting up something, I think, with her. Probably it's going to be her and Naomi, because remember they were showing when Naomi was getting her ass kicked at the Chamber, and they kept showing Lexa, and then somebody said Lexa was like looking at her like, oh, you don't turn on family. So I think that's going to have something because she's going to be Wyatt Six and family, and I think she'll probably have something with Naomi in the future too. But I thought it was going to be her and Roxanne at first.
Lots of different things could happen there. Real quick, Wednesday night, the Evolve thing I want to talk about. Cappuccino Jones.
Oh, that was his second week he was there. Cappuccino Jones.
Like it immediately, as soon as I saw his name on the screen, I was like,
well, did you see the week before? He was. That's what makes it even funnier, because that's what he was drinking. And soon he was drinking. He's like, oh, I like cappuccino, and I was like, Cappuccino Jones. And as soon as I said it, I forgot they were like Cappuccino Jones. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
I mean, he's definitely going to be our favorite WWE Evolve wrestler.
Yes.
The presentation and everything, I actually like that they're using different commentators on it. That they're using like Rosenberg and Robbie E as the commentators for it. Like Rosenberg's actually a much better play-by-play guy than I thought he was going to be. Yeah. Like I was not expecting him to really be up to it and being able to do it, but yeah, we don't need any cheap views. Cappuccino Jones. I think is he our cousin? Chris Barrett, I want to say that he's easily our new favorite wrestler. So we might have the Cappuccino Jones moment of the week going forward. But anyway, really liked the presentation. I really like the from that show. I really like the showing the history a little bit in each episode of Evolve back before WWE actually owned it, showing Cody Rhodes, showing Gargano and Ciampa, showing like all the different wrestlers that have come up through Evolve, Drew Galloway, not even Drew McIntyre, going through it at one point, so I really like that. AEW, I only have a couple things I wanted to mention from AEW. Since the pay-per-view, now I heard that a bunch of people really were banged up after the pay-per-view Revolution. It seems like that's the truth, because if you notice on this week's episode of Dynamite, all the people that actually did show up that were on the pay-per-view the night before, for the most part, were just doing interview segments, like Ospreay and Tony Storm. Like Tony Storm got a little physical in her confrontation with Megan Bayne, which was one of the things that I actually wanted to talk about here. Sets up the new challenge. Megan Bayne seems to be the Tony Khan's flavor of the week, because she's been rolling off win after win after win, and she's rolling them off against people that like have been there for 5 years, so it's like happening instantly. Oh, she's got the look, she's got this. Let's go ahead and just run her right up to Tony Storm. Why? So that she can have the same thing happen that you do with Mariah May, where she's the hottest thing going, and what do? You run her back into Tony Storm, and you give Tony Storm the championship. Tony Storm at this point doesn't need the AEW Women's Championship. The AEW, I will say this: the AEW Women's Championship belt needs Tony Storm, but she does not need the belt.
There you go.
Mariah May needs the belt, and with what she was doing, I think she was helping both move up that ladder again.
She still didn't have. There's still something missing with Mariah, and that's what I think it is. And she's good, but there's something missing. I think Tony has it all. And you're right, Tony doesn't need that belt, but
the belt needs her.
yeah, and it needs her until they find somebody else that has, you know what I mean?
Unfortunately, you're running Megan Bain into her, and you're basically just feeding her. This is the Harley Cameron going up against Mercedes Moné thing. Harley Cameron was and I mean, she has the entire total package at this point. She learned Chinese. You know,
if she made that jump to WWE, oh fuck.
Oh yeah. Harley Cameron would be on the fast track in WWE. I think you're seeing when WWE wants somebody from AEW and they're willing to wait for them when they're out of their contract and they sign with WWE. WWE really is giving these folks a real chance at success. You know, Ethan Page, Lexus King. You know, he's a champion right now in WWE. He was never going to get that being the tag team partner of Griff Garrison.
Ethan Page came right in and got the fucking belt.
Ethan Page won the belt. You know, Stephanie McCare loses to Mercedes Moné, moves over to WWE. She's a double champ. You know, now granted, I mean, out of all of them, she's probably the most talented that they've poached. And of course, she wasn't actually under contract to AEW, but she got them to change the way that they write their contracts because she did immediately go to WWE after she had that one match with Moné. I going back to this little spot right here, Mariah May, Kyle Fletcher, and Ricochet, if you ask me, since the pay-per-view, like, all their heat is gone. Ricochet might be the only one that's got heat still, and that's because he gave a promo on Wednesday night saying that he wants gold and he's going to go into this tournament to face Kenny Omega. And I'll say this, a match against Kenny Omega with Ricochet is going to be awesome if it happens.
He won a spot in that whatever they're doing for the 4-way. So yeah. He's got a chance.
Well, yeah, but then it's also against Speedball Mike Bailey, who is the new flavor of the week, right? And that emaciated Tatanka wannabe. I'm kidding. I actually like Speedball, but man, he actually even looks like Tatanka. Like, if you gave him red hair on top of that mullet, like, it'd be hard for me to say that it's not.
Rooster.
What's that?
He'd be the Red Rooster.
He'd be the red something, but sorry, I'm about to sneeze. Ooh. There we go.
What is X-Pac heat?
What is what?
Chris Barrett.
Oh, getting X-Pac heat?
What is X-Pac heat?
It's where the crowd, it's similar to like when Roman used to get heat when he was a bad guy and Vince just kept shoving him down our throats. You know, it's that overuse, wanting to push him into everything, but for whatever reason, like we just don't like him, so we don't like him. And right now,
I never heard of that. So I was like, I didn't know what X-Pac.
Oh yeah. But Ricochet's in the exact same spot he was in WWE. He's just making a ton more money now. And he doesn't have the help of people like Paul Heyman with his promos anymore. So, like you were mentioning, AEW moved on to a brand new tournament. Yay. That in AEW storytelling terms, if you don't have anything going on, you just go, hey, let's start a new tournament. We'll give a new crown or something at the end of it. This one, obviously, the winner gets to go against Kenny Omega for the International Championship. Kenny Omega cut a great promo at the beginning of the night. I actually enjoyed that promo from him. Wasn't over in terms of length. It was just about right in terms of length and everything. So I was. Go ahead.
Let's get it. So we used to shit on them. The what were they? The execs when there was a Young Bucks and Omega. We used to shit on them. What do you think? You think Kenny's changed? Yeah. Do you see a difference in Kenny? He's more he's not as something different about Kenny. He's not as arrogant, as holish as he used to be. He seems more like, and I don't know if it's because now he's trying to be a face. He seems more
Humble.
yes.
Yeah. So I'll say this. Remember when Roman told everybody that he had leukemia? He instantly humbled himself. And the crowd, which was against him before that, instantly was like, get well soon. Right.
And then when
Kenny,
he came back and said he was in remission, they were like, yeah.
Right. And then like 2 weeks later, we were back to hating him again because he was pushed down our throats again. With Kenny, I think that it's similar. I think that Kenny really was worried he was never going to get to do this again. Diverticulitis isn't one of those things that like just goes away. Like you get pieces of your intestine pulled out of you. And as much of a freak athlete as he,
that's if you have to have surgery. I've had diverticulitis and didn't have to have surgery. They can give you stuff for it.
right, but he had to have the surgery.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where since his return, it really does seem to be he's not taking it for granted. And I think that when AEW started and everything, and he was the belt collector and this and that and whatever, I think that when you get to the top of somewhere that and you're at the top of the independent wrestling scene for as long as he was, you take things for granted. It's like, oh, now I'm getting a 7-figure contract. Now I get to work limited dates. Now I get this. Now, like remember how often you saw the Young Bucks wearing like the fucking brand new Nikes, or Reeboks or whatever shoes that they were wearing at the time. Like that was suddenly they were living the high life, and they were probably burning through money like Ric Flair, and they were taking it for granted because they were top paid guys. They didn't have to work as much, and they were like Kevin Nash in WCW. Like Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, all those guys, they stopped giving a shit when they got to certain points, and I think with Kenny, I think that when all that went away, sure, he was still getting paid because Tony Khan's not going to sit there and not pay you, but he remembered that he loved wrestling, and he loved the crowds. So am I bought into it right now? Yes. Okay. If I start hearing backstage stories of him getting into trouble or shit like that, then that opinion might change. I mean, hell, he actually said he has no heat with CM Punk right now. I don't know if that's the case or not. Like he said, it's not like we call each other on the weekends, but he said we're fine. It's just the business. Backstage shit happens. Whatever. And that's because he was brought up in Stampede Wrestling. So he understands that, yeah, if you got beef with somebody, you go ahead and you start a feud. Because we all know that the real stuff is the best stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, see, and they were burning money faster than Ric Flair. Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. Chris Barrett, it's tough for anybody to burn money faster than Ric Flair. Like that dude knows how to just sit there and won 6 divorces at the same time. We already kind of talked about SmackDown. Nothing really I wanted to go into on that. I don't think, like I said, we already talked about new tag team champions. We already talked about the Jade interview. Cody Rhodes said he's the captain now. That was like the only other thing that really came out.
On what? SmackDown? Isn't that where he was on Miz TV and he went out there and he
took out the Miz and then he told John Cena that he's the captain now. So now let's go ahead and jump into the 3 p.m. live on Netflix Monday Night Raw from today. I guess it was Monday afternoon Raw. And
like I said, I only saw up to Seth. So was that
was right before the main event.
So I hadn't seen the main event. I saw everything but the main event.
Okay. So what I noticed is that Monday Night Raw only had 3 matches. The opening segment, which was John Cena coming out, wearing a brand new "The Last Time Is Now" t-shirt. John Cena comes out, and everybody's expecting brand new music, and they're expecting like a whole change in persona. And what does he do? He swerves the audience by coming out wearing his jorts, wearing his ball cap, and even when he walked out, he grabbed his little thing and went like this. But instead of running down to the ring and sliding in, he walked down to the ring, and it felt like it took forever for him to finally get in the ring. And the entire time, the crowd was, "Let's go, Cena. Cena sucks." And I mean, it was deafening in Brussels, Belgium, right? And he grabs the microphone, and they're cheering, and he puts the microphone down on the ground and makes it look like he's going to walk out without saying a word. And then the crowd starts booing, and he goes, and he grabs the microphone again, and he proceeds to cut a heel promo. And when I say a heel promo, he cuts down the people that were saying Cena sucks, and then he proceeds to sit there and go, "Oh, and I haven't even talked about that other half of the crowd, the ones that you can see, because you can see that t-shirt. You can see that t-shirt. Even this kid in the front row." And then, of course, the camera pans to the kid in the front row, and the kid's just like, and all of a sudden he's like, "You say that you support me, but you don't really support me. You're literally saying that you support me so that you feel good about you. You're the biggest hypocrites of them all." And he proceeds to continue down this road. Tino, I looked at my watch. It was 26 minutes,
almost half hour,
before Cody Rhodes' music hits. And that crowd just starts cheering. And as he does that, Cena even sits there and goes, "See, this is what I'm talking about." Cody comes down. The crowd actually starts chanting, "Cody, go Cody," or something like.
Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes.
And they just and you know, like, Cody's sitting there, and Cena's letting Cody walk around the ring, and Cody sits there and gets ready to start talking, and John Cena tries to cut him off, and he goes, "Whatever you want to say, kid." And he goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's not kid. It's WWE champion." So like, I loved that Cena decided he wanted to go that like old school, like I'm the veteran in the locker room guy, sitting there calling him kid to his face, and having Cody sit there and go, "You better check that shit, because I ain't no kid." You know, and I love the fact that the crowd, when Cena started really railing into everybody, started going, "Fuck you, Cena." And he goes, "Oh, I sit there and tell you I'm going to leave, and you start booing. I start sitting there saying something else. You cheer a little bit, and then you say, 'Go F yourself, Cena.'"
I like that Netflix was trying to catch it. It'd be like, "Fuck you, Cena." Then the volume would go down. I'm like, "You missed it."
They let like 3 of them go, and then they did catch them after that. But yeah, Cena, and like you said, Cena actually went into the whole, like, the reason why I didn't change my music, the reason why I didn't change my look is because this is me. That's my voice on that track.
He said, "You don't," but no, you didn't hear. He was like, because he's putting them down. He said the reason why he didn't change his gear, you don't deserve it. The reason why I don't have new music, you don't deserve it. I loved every fucking 26 and a half minute of that promo.
By the time Cody Rhodes left the ring, we were at like 34 minutes. And by the way, the only reason why this works as well as it does, with that crowd reaction where you get like 8 minutes of they're not even talking, you get like, the only reason why that works as well as it does is because they're on Netflix and they don't have a hard out. They don't have to worry about when that advertisement's going to play. They don't have to worry about, like, stopping right at 10 o'clock. They don't have to worry about any of that shit. So the fact that like they went ahead and they cheered for Cody for as long as they did, the fact that they booed Cena for as long as they did, WWE didn't have to worry about time constraints. So they let those guys go. They let them have that time. And the crowd was so hot that I was telling you this before we went on the air tonight. I said the fact that they're doing this for the next 3 weeks overseas.
Oh, yeah.
These are going to be the hottest crowds leading into WrestleMania that we have ever seen.
And we didn't even touch. So we talked about Cena's part of it. We didn't even touch Cody's. Cody's pretty much came back. He's like, I was so excited to be facing John Cena when you won. He said, that John Cena was pointing in the shirt. He said, you need to bring that John Cena back. Because
he's like, where is that guy?
Where is this John Cena? I'm going to beat him. He said, and he went on, he said, because at the end, he said, because you need to bring that John Cena, because I don't want to fight this John Cena that's a whiny bitch. And the way he walked out, I was like, when he was walking out, nobody's music played. I thought Cena was going to say something else. And then Cena walked out and nobody's music played. I said, that's even fucking better.
Cena looked defeated after that promo battle. And Cody only had like 6 minutes, like I said. You know, but like when John Cena just took the microphone, looked like he wanted to say something else, just dropped the microphone, put his head down. And I don't know if you noticed this. I don't ever remember Cody Rhodes being taller than John Cena. But yet Cody Rhodes was looking down at John Cena.
I didn't really notice. I didn't pay that.
I don't know if it was the camera angles. I don't know what it was, but like John Cena looked small, and not small in terms of stature or anything. But you know how like when you know you're getting beat in a war of words, like your shoulders tilt in a little bit and your head goes down. John Cena had that look the entire time Cody was talking to him, and I mean I don't think I've ever seen John Cena look like that. Like he was the one being bullied in the conversation.
That's that heel. He's pulling it off. Chris Barrett, I agree. Chris Barrett said the thing that he liked is when Cena said, nobody asked me how John Cena. That was fucking powerful too.
By the way,
what did I get? What did I get? Nobody's asked me, how am I?
That's the classic Deion Sanders line when Deion Sanders had turf toe. So way back in the day, Deion Sanders decides he's going to pull himself from being in one of the football games, and he's being interviewed by somebody. He's like, why nobody asking how Deion is? Everybody's saying, well, Deion's not playing. Nobody's asking, how's Deion's toe?
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So I mean, like, and Cena is one of those guys that probably looked up as many of these types of promos as he could, because you know he's going to go in there rehearsed and ready to play the role that they've carved out for him now. And you're right, he came out and he nailed it. I almost would have preferred this week him come out, not say anything, drop the mic, Cody's music hits, Cody sits there and says something, John Cena doesn't say a word, and then we just end that. But the way that they did it, I'm perfectly fine with that too. Well, because we have so much time before WrestleMania. Like, and I find it really weird.
He already did that, not saying anything at the press conference when he took the thing off and he just dropped the mic and walked away. He already did that.
Yeah, but that was the same. That was the same night of the.
You need to hear from Cena. This was perfect, dude. I didn't know how they were going to pull it off, but at the end of that fucking segment, I was like, "Hell yes, let's go!"
Yeah, and I agree. I think like everything they did, they pulled it off. Like I bet Bleacher Report, you know, when their grade comes out, if I had to guess, they probably gave it an A+. You know, because they nailed it. I don't know how Cena's going to get it back to be a babyface by the time he retires.
Like I said, he'll do a run-in on somebody that people hate to help somebody out.
He's going to beat up Hogan?
Oh, he'll turn on the Rock. Something will happen.
He'll beat up Hogan?
Yeah, I'm not listening to you.
Did you see how many times they showed a real American beer commercial during Raw?
And they wouldn't let me fast forward it. Motherfucker.
No, it wouldn't. Cena actually made ESPN today, yeah. So again, awesome. So let's move on to this. They say that they're gonna have the now before this, Dakota Kai ended up beating Ivy Nile in a solid match between the two of them. I think Ivy Nile's really coming into her own as a heel. I'd like to see her get some wins from time to time though. I don't think American Made deserves to be a jobber group like American Alpha was, or Alpha Academy or whatever they called them.
I think Ivy's going to get the women's IC title, but they had to help EL Sky along. I don't think Ivy's going to keep jobbing. She'll get that IC title because I think the Creeds are going to get tagged. I think American Made's going to have a run
where they have all the belts.
Yes,
or at least all the mid-level belts.
Yeah. I don't think Chad's going to get it, but yeah.
I mean, he might get the Intercontinental belt if he ever wants to go after it again.
Possibly.
Io Sky and Bianca Belair sitting there, and I love how Adam Pearce, after they both signed the contract, is like, "Thank you for handling this professionally and not having it." And then, "This is my brutality." And I was hoping
he was
going to come down before they signed the contract.
My favorite part of that is when that music hit, you see Adam Pearce, he goes, "Why?"
And you know, if they did like a WWE.com segment afterwards, Adam Pearce is like, "I need a drink."
And I think that because Rhea signed her name to that contract, they're saying it's not legal. All she has to do is say, "I never got my rematch. I want my rematch."
It'll be a three-way dance by the time it all said and done.
Yeah. But I think that's how they do it. She'll be like, "I didn't ever have my rematch." So
sure, they can say it however they want. The fact
it's going to be a three-way. Yeah, it's going to be a three-way.
That you and I had already contemplated that it was going to be a three-way after Rhea lost the belt anyway. But Rhea being the challenger for the championship, I think adds that much more to it. Not to mention. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was going to say that right now Bianca is undefeated at WrestleMania, and I don't think that they necessarily want her eating a pin at WrestleMania. So while she might not be the champion, I don't think they want her eating the pin.
I think she's going to win that belt at WrestleMania,
and she very well might. But that also gets Rhea Ripley out of her rematch clause and everything else.
There you go.
So because I have a feeling that shortly thereafter we're going to find out that Bianca actually was the one. You know, maybe we have a GTV moment where all of a sudden the backstage segment gets shown, and it's Bianca Belair beating Jade up.
I'm gonna call it now. You ready? Because I called another one. What did I call last time? Oh, I called the John Cena face turn, heel turn. I'm gonna say at WrestleMania, Naomi is still trying to make it up to Bianca, right? She comes down to help or to do something. Cargill comes down to get Naomi. Bianca wins, and then they both jump Cardi, which could set up a Cargill and Bianca for that belt, because that's what they're pushing.
Well, it could be that, or it could even be something where Bianca goes to dive out of the ring and takes out Jade accidentally, and then the next night, she's like, they do that whole Night After Mania moment where it's like, "Be real with me, be real." "Yes, it was me, I did it." And then all of a sudden it's like, "What?" There's it now. Now, granted, you got to add more to the story and everything else, but if Adam Pearce didn't say anything, Rhea Ripley wouldn't have come down. I like that, Chris Barrett. That's funny. That's funny. Sorry, I'm looking for where I clicked on that. There we go. So you didn't see this, so I won't really go into it, but you can kind of imagine what happened. We got more of this. Michael Cole said, "You're not wearing your luchador mask," and Chad Gable turns around and goes, "What luchador mask?" and I told you off air, it just gives me the Hogan Real American vibe.
Yeah. I do want to talk about the Uso. Maybe
Sure.
not so much the match. It's after the match when he went to go do that flip over the rope and got caught up, and I thought he broke his neck.
How does that stuff always seem to happen on these European tours? Because remember when Damian Priest got his leg caught and his opponent had to try to get him out? It's always on the European tours
But I'm like, dude, he
or
almost broke his
international
neck
tours.
right before damn WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I get it. He's probably just like hype, but I'm like, Jesus.
Oh, by the way, another thing that I will have to eat crow on this one, and it has to do with Jey Uso. I said that as the Royal Rumble winner, he deserved the main event of WrestleMania, and he's definitely not getting that now. And when I say the main event, I mean the main event. You know, like the Sunday night main event. Jey Uso is not going to be in that match now. It's obviously going to be Cena and Cody. You know, if Cena hadn't won the Elimination Chamber, done the heel turn and everything else, Cody might not be the last match. But now that all happened and transpired, yeah.
Oh, I fucking forgot about on fucking SmackDown the fucking brawl all night that fucking Tiffy Time and Charlotte Flair had. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, they when we see what they're doing with that, they have to make Tiffany look stronger because right now she's just basically looked like a chump to Charlotte Flair. So them doing that is a way of making her stand her ground and actually show she's got what it takes to go toe to toe with the greatest female athlete in WWE history.
So is that what they're doing to Uso now? Because for the past 3 weeks, we've seen him get choked out from behind, and this week he managed to break it up and hold the title over his head.
Well, now remember, Gunther said, "If you pick me, I'm going to make your life a living hell for these 10 weeks." And since he said, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm picking you, Gunther. But Gunther's just doing what he said he was going to do, and Gunther, as the heel, that's all he's ever done. Like he's just always been like, I'm better than you at this, and I'm going to show you that every week until we get there. Yeah. And so far, he's done that. The good guy's got to get his comeuppance at some point, though, and you know, like when you have 8 weeks of build to WrestleMania, at some point he's going to have to look like a stronger opponent for Gunther, right?
Yeah.
So, last thing I really want to touch upon when it comes to WWE, I already kind of said it, but these international crowds, man, like AJ Styles, you heard him getting his chant today. You know, like the same one he got in France. These guys from Belgium are sitting there doing the same thing. Every time the count would go to 2, there'd be a chant. Every time there, you know, like, but this obviously is a brainchild of Triple H heading to WrestleMania, because WWE used to always do that Road to WrestleMania tour, and they'd always hit towns like Raleigh during that. But we'd get house shows. We would never get like the Raw or SmackDown or anything else. Like I even noticed that the Greensboro Raw that happens in May, that one I was like, oh shit, we might get heel champion Cena, and then we want to go to SmackDown, right? Because it might be the last time we get to see him. He's not going to be at that one. He's at the next week's one. Like, because they've already announced his schedule through like, I want to say through Backlash or maybe even after that. So like they've already announced his schedule through like June. And it's because he's filming movies and everything else during that time too. I do find it interesting that they've got him this week, next week, and the week after, but then they only have him, I think, at the go home Raw before WrestleMania at that point.
Mm.
So he's doing all the March ones, and then he's doing like the very last one before WrestleMania. It's pretty interesting. Like, although I do expect that we might see The Rock show up 1 or 2 more times during that period too. So maybe he's filling in when Cena's not there. Did you find that interesting that Cena never actually like spoke about The Rock in this conversation? You know, because The Rock obviously looks like he's the one that orchestrated everything. So I'd like to see what's going on with that. But the international crowd stuff, I have to say, like it's a stroke of genius because WWE will be going into WrestleMania 41 hotter than it's ever been based on the way that these crowd reactions are.
So for the next until WrestleMania, they're in Europe. They're not coming back to the States.
No. April, they've got like the last two, I think, are in the United States. I think, and they're probably hitting hot towns like Philadelphia and LA or something like that. But you know, like it's interesting to me that the entire month of March is like an entire European tour. And you know, like Roman and Punk are going to be on SmackDown. Cena and Cody were on Raw. Next week, Cena and Cody are going to have another face-to-face. So, I mean, like, what else are they going to say that they haven't already said?
They'll probably get physical this week.
I have a feeling we're going to see the chicken shit heel side of Cena here, where Cena's going to slide out of the ring and be like, oh, no, I'm not giving it away for free.
Because you don't deserve it.
Because you don't deserve it.
I can see that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I could totally see that being the case. I think that's something that like we have to look forward to because you know, like he never took his hat off, so we never got to see the bald spot this week.
Well, did you send me or somebody I saw it? They were showing him he didn't have the bald spot, so I don't know what he did.
So I think that's when he's filming like the Fast and Furious movies because he didn't have a bald spot in the movies. You know, like I bet that he's got it covered up somehow, like with hair plugs or something that they put on for that.
He's got a toupee about that big.
It's probably barretted in, you know. So
he's got that spray shit.
Yeah, he's just got spray on hair. You know, it'll start leaking down the sides when he's wrestling. All the sweat.
He put fucking chia pet seeds on his head.
He's gonna have to do the same stuff that like Finn Balor does when he's the demon. You know, it's gonna be like that oil. It's gonna be like that oil-based spray paint.
He's got to change his name to John Chia.
Terrible. That was terrible. Okay, we got a couple things on the rumor mill. But before we do that, Lex Luger going into the WWE Hall of Fame. You don't seem to like this. Why not? Is he not deserving?
I don't think not only is he not deserving, he wasn't really. He was only in WWE for a cup of tea.
Yeah, but remember they own WCW now, so all that history with the WCW stuff has to be included. Otherwise, did Sting deserve to be in the WWE Hall of Fame? He had 2 matches.
Well, that's true too.
And he lost both of them, by the way.
I guess. I'm just not Sting, yeah, because Sting was like fucking Sting. Luger, while I liked him when he was in WA, because I grew up in WCW.
Well, remember, so okay, if we're looking at his WWE career, he slammed Yokozuna when he weighed like 600 pounds.
And then he was the narcissist, which is the dumbest.
But then there was the Lex Express. Now he never ended up winning the WWE Championship, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, with like how they did that Lex Express for that entire year. You know, Sting is the icon. Yes. And Miss Elizabeth, I'm going to say right now, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame as well. Like, without a doubt, one of the best managers.
Yeah, Liz put in her time there. I guess. I see what you're saying. Yeah, they own WCW. But, like, Miss Elizabeth, for the time she put in with the Macho Man and all that shit.
And then being the NWO call girl.
Yeah, see, that end up now. See, her WWE shit should be what gets her into it.
Sure.
All right. So,
all right. So rumor.
I'm happy about that one.
Earthquake, and of course, the Shockmaster. And you know when they show the video package of him being a Hall of Famer, Shockmaster has to be part of it.
I hope they do.
You know, even if they just show the version of when he was on Edge and Christian's awesome show of complete and total awesomeness or whatever it was, where he got to relive the same segment and he still did it. John Tenta, I think absolutely deserves a Hall of Fame induction. Typhoon, I got to be honest with you, he never like Tugboat and Typhoon. Why does he deserve it?
Come on, that was Hulk Hogan's best buddy. You know they're gonna put him in for that. But Earthquake, he was like Golga. That was awesome. He carried on the big ass Cartman.
Did you ever watch the behind the Dark Side of the Ring about him? Where when they're talking about the Golga character and everything, Vince McMahon was like, he can come back, but we're putting him under a mask.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, everybody knows it's Earthquake, you know. But so as a tag team, I think they absolutely do deserve to be in the Natural Disasters. Absolutely.
I think Oddities need to be in there too. Now I think not you got like Golga and Silva. Yeah, that one they were good. Luna Vachon.
Yeah, I don't know. The Rosebuds maybe, because when you actually think about like what happened with like how many of them became champions and everything else in the WWE, like they deserve to actually be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Great sumo guy too. Yes, John Tenta was actually a great sumo guy. Thanks for that, Rob Paw. And then the last thing on here, Tino, that I've got another rumor. One of these is pretty much confirmed. Ray Phoenix. We saw the video package on Friday Night SmackDown this week with the number 4. A lot of people.
No. Ray Phoenix was the
Aleister Black.
Aleister Black's the number 4. Ray Phoenix is the other one.
Okay. But Ray Phoenix is pretty much guaranteed to be showing up. They're saying he's already signed his contract and everything else. The interesting one here on the rumor list, though, is Jeff Cobb. He is.
I've been watching him since ROH. Fucking phenomenal.
You know where I almost see them going with him? That would probably be the best thing, like for the other guy.
Bronson Reed.
Yes, bring him in, have him tag with Bronson Reed. And have them be
their same build. Their same build.
Have them be a new age Natural Disasters. You know, a new 3-minute warning. I don't care. Like anything like that. You know, like I totally see it. Hell, just call them the Tsunamis. Like, you know, like but you're right. Jeff Cobb's been a staple in New Japan for a while now. Never seems to have a bad match. And you know, the unfortunate thing is if he goes to like AEW instead of WWE, like he last minute changes his mind, you know, because like Josh Alexander, they're saying he's going to AEW, right? Josh Alexander, they're saying he just went, who's going to give me the most money up front? And he's at that age where like, if you haven't made a lot of money, you want to take the money, right? And I don't know about you, Tino, like with where you work or anything, but oftentimes when people sit there and they say, hey, I got 2 offers on the table, when I look at them and I go, okay, you're 26 years old, make as much money as you fucking can right now. Because at some point in your life, you might not be able to. So make it now, make it count, and then do what you love when you finally say, okay, I just want to settle down and like deal with something else. Make as much money as you can beforehand. I never did that. I look back now and I go, I really should have. You know, I was always the loyalty guy. So I was the guy that's like, oh, GameStop's been good to me. I'm going to be good to GameStop for as long as I can. And then, you know, when that relationship was over, like I felt like I wasted my time.
I've always managed to get jobs to where I love what I was doing and I was making good money.
Yeah,
I've been lucky.
Well, and I totally see that, you know, like, and I mean, when I started at LabCorp, I liked the job a lot. I was making good money. When I started at the state, making really good money, loved what I was doing, you know, and you know, apparently they liked what I was doing too, because hopefully, you know, that amounts to me getting one of these other jobs. So, I think that's everything I got for this week, Tino.
Yeah, cool.
I told you I was going to try to get you out of here in an hour and a half. We're right at 129.
Yeah, appreciate it. Because I am going to take some fucking cold meds and fucking crash out. I might try to watch the last, because you said there's only one more match after Seth, right?
Yes. Yeah. In fact, he actually sits there during his little promo and he says, we've only got one more commercial break and we got the main event after this. So go ahead and chant my music, you know, until we go to break, whatever. So yeah. And again, that's, again, they waited till that whole thing was over, and then they finally cut the commercial break. It watching them not have the time constraints on Netflix is amazing, because they still, I think they still only did a 2.5-hour show.
They've done that since they started Netflix. It's only been 2.5 hours. They hadn't hit 3 yet.
They hit 3 the first week.
Well, the first week, but I'm saying after.
But that's because Triple H thinks the sweet spot of wrestling is 2.5 hours.
Yeah, and I agree.
And I've heard rumors that SmackDown's dropping back to 2 hours. So it's going to be interesting, because I thought they moved to 3 hours because USA was like, hey, we still want a 3-hour program. Yeah, no, that is what it is. Tino, why don't you give everybody ways that they can find us? Well, unless you want me to, because you don't have a voice.
You can find me on the Insta at SC Tino. You can find me on TikTok at Tino R Gray Music. You can find us on Facebook, we're Potsy and Tino. X, we're the Potsy and Tino Show. I'm on Blue Sky too. You can find us each and every week right here on the Pots and Pan Network. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, like our shit, buy our shit. Also, we want to say thanks to Adam's House Cat, for the wrestling song. You can get that on iTunes for the low price of 99 cents. 99 Jones.
99 Jones. 99 Jones right there. 99 Jones. Folks, once again, like he said, give us a like, subscribe, comment on the show, do whatever you can. Try to help us get it out there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We always enjoyed doing this. We will see you guys next week. Remember, Monday Night Raw is Monday Afternoon Raw again next week. They are on at 4 p.m. from Scotland.
You can tell them how to get up with you, bud.
Oh, yeah. Rob Pochak on Instagram, Rob Potsy Pochak on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, Blue Sky, Pochak on Twitter, and of course on Facebook. Just look me up, Rob Pochak. Look him up, Tino Gray. My page is a professional page, so you can either like it or actually try to friend me on there.
The band's Facebook page. I've never fucking plugged that. It is Tino Gray and the Social Casualties on Facebook.
So with that, folks, want to thank everybody once again. Like I said, Monday Night Raw will be Monday Afternoon Raw next week, 4 p.m. from Glasgow, Scotland. So give that a look, give that a like. I'll probably have watched it by the time we come on the air. You might not be able to.
My shit starts at 6:30, so I'll probably be able to catch up until I got to get in my class. So again, I probably won't have watched the whole thing.
So with that, folks, want to thank everybody. Also want to thank David Arquette for the intro tonight, and we are out of here. Thanks so much. Peace. Good night, everybody. Ready? Potsy and Tino. For the Potsy and Tino Show. Thanks for watching.